Classic WoW Fresh releases today. Brand new official Classic servers that will progress all the way through the Classic raids and eventually onto the Burning Crusade expansion. Even though this is another release of Classic WoW, just like we had in 2019, these Classic Fresh servers will be different. Blizzard have announced multiple quality of life changes and small features being added that will both save you time and improve the Classic experience, while still keeping it feeling like Classic. So let's go over why it might be worth jumping back into Azeroth in Classic Fresh, or trying Classic for the first time as a brand new player. And the number one reason is the addition of Dual Spec. Blizzard have announced that for Classic Fresh, which comes out today, Dual Spec is planned to be added. That means you'll be able to freely switch your build up while leveling and at endgame, meaning you can farm in the open world and play in the open world as a DPS, and then jump into dungeons on a tank build or a healer build. You can PvP with a PvP spec, and then switch to a PvE build for dungeons and raiding. This opens up the game massively and was one of the biggest restrictions we had back in Classic and Original Vanilla. For those that didn't play back then, every time you changed your build, your spec, you had to go to the city and pay a gold cost. And that amount of gold increased each time you switched. This was more if you wanted to make a big change. So for example, if you wanted to change from a DPS while leveling, and then you wanted to move over to a healing build, you would stay a healing build. And if you did change, it would be because maybe you got a good weapon and you wanted to move over to a build that matched that weapon. Or mages that, for example, switched from frost to fire as the raids progressed. So yeah, this will give so much freedom, and it will make playing a healer or a tank feel so much less punishing. And I know personally, it makes me want to play different classes because it has that freedom now. Not only that, but with more tanks and healers, the dungeons and raid groups should fill much easier. And on the topic of filling dungeons and raids easier, Blizzard have also announced they will be adding a looking for group tool for Classic Fresh. No longer will we have to sit in Stormwind or Orgrimmar, type in 1 DPS looking for group, or scrolling the /who player list and whispering random healers asking if they wanted to join our dungeon. On top of this also doesn't give you fast travel like it does in Retail WoW. It's just for finding a group, and then it's up to you to make your way there. So you can still go about your questing, look for a dungeon in your level range, and then fly over when you're ready. Dungeons have always been a great way to level and one of the best ways to gear up, but finding a group in Classic sometimes took more time than the dungeon itself. So yeah, this addition is great. The looking for group tool can also be used to sell services, portals, enchantments, summons, all that kind of thing. So it's just a big win overall in terms of your time. There was a looking for group tool that was used in Season of Discovery. It was an add-on, and it was a similar thing. But having it in the game naturally for everyone without needing to use an add-on is just a fantastic change. Next up, raiding. As fun and nostalgic as Classic raiding was, it was quickly ruined by the players in Classic WoW. Well, in Classic Fresh, Blizzard have announced a bunch of changes that should improve the raiding experience. First up, GDKP is banned. This was a system guilds would use where everyone has to bid gold on items that they want from the raid. And then the gold that was then bidded on was distributed to the other players who didn't get anything. So it incentivized players to keep raiding after they got all their items. But it definitely caused the divide and left people feeling like they were playing a game that was pay to win. Even if you had all the gold and if you could get your hands on the gold, you could get the gear. It's a good system when done properly, but overall, it caused more problems than it was worth, and in my opinion, it's a good thing to get rid of it, so not having it in Classic Fresh, big W in my opinion. We're also getting the removal of the buff and debuff limit, meaning classes with debuffs and utility buffs will be more welcome in raids. There'll be more of a place for classes like Shadow Priests and their dots, and more overall power coming from these buffs and debuffs because they can scale more. And finally, they'll be adding an item called the Chrono Boom Displacer, which we had in Season of Discovery, which lets us store world buffs. So win-win. I personally just want them to get rid of world buffs. I think there's such a chore in Classic. However, having this is still a big improvement if you're planning to raid seriously. Just being able to store your buffs and then use them in the raid is an improvement overall. Now something that a lot of people can probably relate to, and that is I'm going to call the Season of Discovery problem. A lot of us played Season of Discovery, and I don't want to say it was bad because it wasn't. But what I hear lots of people say is, I really enjoyed Season 1 and Phase 1 and Phase 2, and then I kind of dropped off. And that's what most people say about Season of Discovery. And I think a lot of that is due to the level capping and how long they longed out the journey to 60. In Phase 1, you could only get to level 25, and then you were stuck there for months. Phase 2, you were stuck at 40 for months. And lots of us just wanted to get to endgame and finish our character. So yeah, I'm really excited after playing. I played a lot of Season of Discovery, so being able to just jump straight in 1 to 60, go all the way to endgame and have the full endgame available straight away feels really good. Just being able to level multiple characters, level all the way to the end, do your pre-raid gearing, crafting, and just exploring Azeroth as a full finished character with an epic mount is just going to feel really good. And I think lots of players are in the same boat and are excited to get their hands on Classic Fresh just for that reason. And finally, another reason to be excited is on top of the PvE and PvP servers, we are also getting an official hardcore server with Classic Fresh. The hardcore community just keeps growing. It just keeps growing, and the hype for hardcore is massive. Hundreds of hours to get to max level, and if you die, it's all over forever. There's going to be so much hype and so much fun coming out of this server. The guild OnlyFangs are gearing up to play this as of today as well, which will bring in some of the biggest streamers from like Tyler One to Pirate Software, like not even normal classic players and streamers. So expect some massive hype and big drama coming out of this. And I know lots of players just like to play the game that's hype. They like to play the thing that everyone else is playing. And lots of people will be playing hardcore classic WoW. Overall, if you don't like Classic, you want fast, quick rewards like retail, then Classic won't be for you. Classic Fresh won't mean anything to you. But if you like that slow, rewarding progression, and you're considering giving it a try, I personally believe there has never been a better time to try Classic WoW than right now. But that's it from me. Classic is back. Time to let the nostalgia in, not leave our house for a few weeks, sit in a 2-hour queue, and hit mobs slowly for hours on end. But that's it. Thank you for watching the video. If you like this style of video and want to see more, do consider subscribing to the channel, as Classic is finally back. Thank you. I'll catch you in the next one.